Let's talk about, you know, the other super fight, which is GSP versus Jake Shields. And we saw Jake training here today, got some great footage and everything like that, and he looks great. I mean, how do you see that fight coming down?
Same way Jake, all of his fights go down. Watch Henderson and Jake, and that's how that fight's gonna go. Or it's either gonna look like that, or it's gonna look like Jake and Lawler. Nobody's giving Jake a chance. But you know what?
Oh, I gave him a chance. I gave him a chance. I still, you know, no offense, Jake, but I may have changed now.
No,
because I saw some stuff here that I really love. But before I came here today, let's put that. Before I came here today, I had this super close with a very slight edge to GSP, just because I know GSP's big, he's very athletic, everything like that, and I'm worried that he's going to try to do a cost check to him. And cost check was no joke either, and he kept him on the range there with the jab.
Well, the thing with Jake is the big difference between Jake and cost check, and I think this is a problem with all well-rounded MMA fighters. They start to lose their core competency. They start to think. I think Koscheck's biggest problem was, after he ate a few jabs, he just abandoned the takedown. He said, okay, I'm going to stand up, you know, because he felt some sense of confidence in the stand-up, which is good, but
Jake, he seemed to me like he was out-muscling GSP in a lot of positions. Like, GSP tried to jump his back, and
he didn't look too bad in the first round, and if he would have just stuck with it, I think the fight, he might have still lost, but I think the fight would have looked a whole lot better than it looked. And Jake is not going to do that. Jake, that's his number one strength, is the fact that he focuses on his strength, what he does best. GSP knows exactly what Jake's going to do, and now he's got to stop him from doing it. And I can assure you that if Jake eats a bunch of jabs and he gets beat up, you know, in a round, he can beat him up for 3 rounds. He's going to come right back out in the 4th round. He's going to be looking for the same thing, and he's not going to stop. So you're going to have to stop Jake from doing what he's going to do for 5 rounds, and it's not going to happen.
See, now, and I'm getting sold on this. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I've always been a huge Jake Shields fan, and how can you know, go against the guy when he's been on a 15 win undefeated streak against some very good guys, very top talent. Okay, and so now he's coming over here. It's like, I think GSP is physically very dominating. I think he's very strong, but I think that he has some cardio issues a little bit, you know, more than he maybe. In other words, I think that, okay, Jake in his last fight, I think that was a hard cut, and we didn't see him at top condition. But Jake normally, you know, no problem. Not maybe not Nick Diaz level, but he's right up there. He's right up there. And so point I'm trying to make is, I don't think GSP can hang with Jake conditioning wise. And I think that's going to tell a little bit later. As long as, you know, Jake can somehow get it to the ground and impose his thing, or not get, you know, sniped out with the striking. And we saw how good his chin was against Henderson. I mean, if Henderson can't take you out with the H-bomb, you got a good chin.
That's the thing. It's like, look at Henderson. Henderson hit him with his best shot. The shot that everybody said if he hits him with it, it's over.
We saw what happened to Fejao and a lot of other.
Yeah, it's not over. You're not gonna get him out of there. So you can forget about trying to end him early. You're gonna have to go 5 rounds with Jake. Can you do that? I don't see it happening. I think Jake is going to go out. And not only that, I don't see it going 5 rounds. I think Jake is going to finish GSP, and I think he's going to finish him early. It might not be the first round.
That'd be so great. I'd be so excited about that.
Jake is going to finish him early. I think Jake has all the tools to exploit
clearly
weaknesses.
It's clearly GSP's toughest test, in my personal opinion, his most dangerous opponent, because, like you said, this takes away GSP's #1 game, which is quote-unquote lay and pray. Using your physical ability and your wrestling ability to get dominant position and just kind of hang out there and do whatever. No disrespect to GSP. Look, I give all the respect to GSP. He's the champion. He's been champion for a while, and he does exactly what he needs to do to win. And my hat's off to him on that. But I think, you know, anytime this fight hits the ground, GSP has a danger sign at all times.
That's the thing. You can't be anywhere on the ground with Jake. You can't. I saw that. You can't do what you did to Koscheck, or you can't take Jake down and think that you're going to be safe in his guard. You're not going to hang out there. So you got to stay on the feet. There's only one place for him to be. He's got to stay on his feet, and he's got to keep the distance. As soon as Jake closes the distance, then it's going to be UFC 1 all.
Well, and you know what? I saw. I mean, you know, I'm not going to say too much, but I mean, I was very impressed with some of the striking today. Very impressed. I think that people are maybe underrating that with Jake.
Well, I mean, people are going to always underrate his stand-up because they're never really going to get to see all of it, But Jake's stand-up is very good. But he's smart. He knows what he knows what he needs to use to win his fights, and that's what he uses.
You're convincing me, man. I mean, well, what I saw today definitely convinced me. I will make a final prediction at the end after I see all of GSP stuff. But I mean, Jake clearly looks in phenomenal shape. He looks like he's ready, and I'm telling you, there is going to be an unbelievable fight coming down April 30th for the UFC Welterweight Championship in Toronto, and I can't disagree with your confidence in Jake.
The thing is with Jake, if I was an outsider looking in, I might be able to look at his fights and say, oh, okay, this guy doesn't look athletic enough. He doesn't look like all of these extra things. Yeah, but knowing Jake, seeing Jake, training with Jake, and then having that perspective when I watch his fights, it changes everything. For everybody who saw Jake's first fight in the UFC, they said, "Oh, he didn't look good. Oh, he doesn't deserve a title shot." All this ridiculous stuff. But
that was weight.
The truth of the matter is that was Jake's best fight ever. In my opinion, that was his best fight ever because he cut 20 pounds.
Yeah, he did exactly.
The day of, he hadn't fought in 2 years at 170 pounds.
Right, exactly.
It was already a question of, okay, should he actually be fighting in this condition after that weight cut, right?
Exactly.
He had a built-in excuse to just say, you know what, I cut too much weight, I haven't done this. He sucked it up. He could have easily quit. All this stuff going through your mind during the fight.
Oh, no, I used to wrestle. Cutting that kind of weight is brutal.
Most fighters would have quit. Most people would have quit, and they would have said, you know what, I cut too much weight, I did this, I did that, I'll be back. That's not Jake. He's not going to do that.
That's right.
He doesn't do that in the fight. He doesn't do it in training. So,
that's a really good point, and I like what you're saying there because I think that GSP is a good competitor, and he does exactly what he needs to do to win. But I don't think in the fire that because you know what I mean. You knew. See, when I used to wrestle guys or whatever, or you go one-on-one or do the judo stuff, you knew who you could break.
Yeah.
And you know when you're breaking them. Yeah. I don't think that GSP is as mentally tough in the fire as a Jake Shields.
You're not breaking Jake Shields. It's just not going to happen. So the question is who's going to break? Who's going to break?
I like that.
Then you already know the answer to that.
Well, and your point, or at least my point with the Koscheck thing is, had Koscheck's eye not been busted up with the orbital bone early, and look, all the credit to GSP, he made it happen. But had that fight could have looked a lot different. And if Koscheck hadn't abandoned him, that fight could have looked a lot different. I'm not saying necessarily would have won.
I think it could have looked different, but I don't think it would have looked different just because I don't think it had anything to do with the injury. I think he just got to a point where he resigned himself to the fact that he wasn't going to take down GSP, and so he said, "I'm going to stay on my feet here," which is. You're a wrestler. That's what you do. What do you would be better off not throwing any punches. Just go wrestle and do what you do best rather than, going in there. It's like, I go and compete in grappling tournaments and people say, oh, you got to go in and, you got to get the takedown and you got to go do this and you got to go score points. Like, that's not what I do. I try to submit people. So if I submit you, I'm going to win. If I don't submit you, I'm probably going to lose. But I'm not going to go out there and try to play the points game because that's not what I do.
Exactly.
And if I go and I try to play the points game and I lose, then I just feel like a jerk because I didn't even get to see what could have actually happened.
Dan,
go out there and lose doing what I do best, than lose doing something that I picked up a few months ago.
Dance with who you brought, right? In other words, Jake got this far with his jiu-jitsu. That's what we're gonna see.
Exactly. And if he can stop his wrestling and jiu-jitsu, then he's probably gonna win. But
your prediction: Jake wins early. The new welterweight champion, who's gonna be hanging out over here in Pleasant Hill, Gracie Fighter.
That is my absolute prediction. If
Jason Manley from GracieFighter.com and then GracieFighterMMA.com.
Yeah, that's the Berkeley gym. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.